my readers. My name's Katie. If you're new here, if not, welcome back. Today we're going to be getting into my April wrap-up, as today is April 30th and the last day of the month. So it only felt right. And then we're going to go through it. I probably won't touch base on everything I read because I did read 17 books this month. Two of them were DNFs. I got around 50 pages into both of them, and the writing with the one I loved. I will definitely be going back to it. Made for Saints by LK. I will be going back to it. It just, I wasn't in the mood for a mafia romance at this moment. And I was starting to get a little slumpish, and I let her know I was reading it to be able to read the sequel, because I got approved for an arc for it, but I'm not in the mood for mafia, and it's better to be upfront and honest than to try to lie your way out of it. So yeah, and then after that we're gonna pick out my May TBR. I'm gonna aim a little higher than last month, mainly because I go back to work, so I will have 10 hours throughout the day to read in between trucks and whatever. So yeah, let's get into this. Most of these books I read, some of them were on my Kindle or library books. So some of them I don't own physical copies of. For two of them I no longer have the physical copies of from the library, but I have the third and fourth, so I will use them as a stand-in for the two that I took back. Two books I read, I already touched base on because I think I read it pretty much right when I did my March wrap-up. It was Anatomy by Karina Vigil and This Is How You Know I Want You by Ava. They're both just small, quick little poetry collections, and I rated them both 3 stars. It was nothing phenomenal, but nothing bad. Next up, so I read this throughout March and ended up finishing it in April. And it was The Bridge Kingdom by Danielle L. Jensen, and I loved this book, and I have books 2 and 3, and if my TBR allows for it, the second book will be going on there. I absolutely love this book. I loved how they slowly fell in love but were denying it the whole time. And I'm interested to see what happens after the ending of this book. I'm interested to see how it continues in the second one. And then next up I read Crossroads, which originally I read a library edition of this book. Crossroads by Devney Perry. It's in the first book in the Haven River Ranch. I don't know if it's a series or a duology. I'm not sure if there's going to be more books coming out other than this one and Sunlight. But I read Crossroads. It made me absolutely fall in love with Devney Perry's writing. I read this in one sitting, and I just absolutely love this book. This book, it's the emotional equivalent of standing in the rain, looking at your one true love, and whispering, "It's always been you." It's that kind of book. And I rated it a 5-star, I think. Yeah, both this and The Bridge Kingdom was 5 stars. The next book I read was The Bones Beneath My Skin by T.J. Klune. That book was also a 5-star. I fell in love with the little girl. Basically, so Nate ends up learning his parents died, and he was left his father's truck and his parents' cottage. So he goes up, he has nothing left. He goes up to the cottage, and there is Alex and Artemis in his cottage, and the story just goes on from there. And my review, I just said this was such a sweet story. Miss Artemis, Darth Vader, how misunderstood you were. I absolutely loved that book. I would definitely recommend. And then next I read the short story The Answer Is No by Frederick Bachman. Now, I'm very glad that I picked up this book. It was my first taste of Frederick Bachman's writing, and I'm glad I started with it. It showed me how his writing is, and I'm so excited to finally be able to say I've read from Bachman. I do have Anxious People and A Man Called Ove, and I'm just excited to read more of him because I've heard so much about Beartown, and I've just been intimidated. But now I know, like, it's been so long since I found myself giggling over a book out loud, and this story had me in constant fits of laughter. I definitely recommend picking up The Answer Is No. If you've never read any Frederick Bachman, and even if you have, it's just so tasteful and so cute and funny. Yeah. Next up, I read volume 1 of this manga series, Yokohama Kadashi Kiku. Honestly, don't make fun of me. I tried my best. This is about a robot. I'll give you the synopsis. It's in a future Japan, long after an environmental catastrophe, Alpha the android runs a small cafe in a seaside town. As she wonders if her absent owner will ever return, she stands witness to the twilight of humanity with coffee, a slice of watermelon, and the sound of her moon guitar. Alpha and her fellow residents enjoy the melancholy beauty of life, even as the end approaches. And it's so light and so easy to get through, even though they are chunky. But, like, I could get through this in an hour. I definitely recommend giving it a try. It was originally published in 1990s, I believe. And they've just recently been republished as the omnibus copies of them. But yeah, I read this in volume 2 as well. And hopefully volume 3 will be read next month. And then we have Insatiable by Lee Rivers, and now I don't even really want to get into it. I've seen so many good things about this book. I read it. I found the main female character annoying. I found the main male character annoying as well. It was repetitive. We're always waiting for the truth to be told, and they keep dancing around it, and I will give the second book a try, but I did not enjoy the first book. I rated it 2 stars. Next up, I read Demon in the Wood which was a graphic novel in the Grishaverse by Lee Bardugo. I rated it a 3 stars. It's nothing special, but I did enjoy being able to see his story at the beginning. Next up was The Serpent and the Wings at Night by Carissa Broadbent. It took me so long to get to this book because I thought it was just like pure vampire, and I'm not a vampire girly. I don't often read vampire books. I read this one and I highly enjoyed it. I thought it was more of a romance going into it, but honestly it wasn't even that bad. I rated it 4.5 stars. My only review was I can't even form words right now. I absolutely love this book. I definitely think the hype stands up to it, or it stands up to the hype, and I definitely recommend giving it a try. Next up, I read The House of My Mother, A Daughter's Quest for Freedom by Sherry Frankie. I definitely recommend picking it up. I feel like her story is one that needs to be read. It definitely gives an insight into family vlogging on YouTube and everything like that. And it's such a heartbreaking story to read, but at the same time it's a very important story, and it should definitely be read by everybody. Next up we have Leather and Lark by Bryn Weaver. I was really scared. I was really scared to go into this book. I had heard so many mixed things about it, but I guess I came out on the other side, and I enjoyed it. I think a lot of the fact that people don't like it maybe is how slow burn it is. Like, the first spicy scene didn't happen until we were over halfway through the book. I absolutely loved the way that they showed up for each other, and the only thing was that I wasn't expecting the pizza thing, because I don't know if you know, but Bryn Weaver likes to do a thing with food, and she ruins food for you for a little bit. And I wasn't expecting the pizza thing to happen so early on in the book. I really wasn't. But it still wasn't as bad as the ice cream. Next up was 6 Scorched Roses by Carissa Broadbent, which is a short story in between the first book and the second book. And while it follows different characters, it's eye-catching all the same, and honestly, I think I liked it a little bit more than The Serpent and the Wings at Night. It follows Lilith in a town. Her father made a deal with a god, and it cursed the town, all to save Lilith, and she goes on a journey trying to heal the town. And it's a fun story, and I really enjoyed it. Next was Made for Saints, which I got like 50 pages in and DNF'd. Same with The Bodyguard by Catherine Center. I read like the first 50 pages and I just couldn't do it. The female main character was annoying to me. That's all I really have to say to that. And then lastly was Sunlight by Daphne Perry. And while I want to say that I loved it, it was good, but there was a plot point at the end. We go through the story, and Sasha is writing letters to someone throughout the book, and for the longest time I was clueless and thought it was her like ex-fiance or something. We find out, spoiler, that it's her brother, her little brother. I wish we had found this out sooner on in the book. And he got into some trouble with drugs when, like, a year ago in the book, and so he ends up at a wilderness camp, and that wilderness camp is what brought my rating down, honestly. I have seen so much to do with wilderness camps, and they're just not, they're not good, they're not healthy, they're projected, they're, on the outside, they're painted to look good and like something that's harm-free and helpful, but it can be really damaging. And if that wasn't in there, if he was at like a normal like inpatient therapy type place, my rating would have stayed at where it was going. It was going up to like a 4, 4.5. But this dropped it down to 2 stars. And it's really just a personal preference. I'm not a fan of that, and I didn't really expect it to go that way. I love Jax. Jax is what saved it for me, but yeah, Crossroads was definitely better. I definitely recommend picking up Crossroads, but I could say you could probably skip this one. But yeah, that was my books read in April, and let's get on to my May TBR. So before we get into picking books from the jar, the prompts from the jar, I have a stack of 5 books that I'm going to just add to my TBR, and we're going to pick 3 or 4 from the jar. Yeah, these are all books. One is one I absolutely have to read, because I have to read this, the sequel, and then I have an arc of the 3rd book. So there's 3 books, 3 more books that technically should be on here, but we're going to do this one. This will be a reread. It's The Foxglove King by Hannah Witten. I read this shortly after it came out, I believe. I absolutely loved it, and I can't wait to reread it and continue on with the series. Next up is First Time Caller by B.K. Borson. This will be my first B.K. Borson book. The cover just absolutely calls to me, and I've heard so many good things about it. And with the first book in the 1 series being Love Light Farms and it being Christmassy, I really want to read B.K. Borson, but I don't want to start with a Christmas book like right now. We're going into summer almost. So yeah, I think we'll start there. And then next is Heavenly Bodies. I've again heard so many good things about this book. I wish I had the gorgeous Fairy Loot edition of this book, but I do not. But I hope to get to this month and see what all the hype's about. And then the last 2 are sequels. This is The Traitor Queen, which I said would be on here. It's the sequel to The Bridge Kingdom, and I just can't wait to see where it goes. And then last is The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King by Crystal Broadbent, which is the sequel to The Serpent and the Wings of Night. And I just figure I want to get to it while the first book is so fresh in my mind. Yeah. Let's pick some books from the TBR jar. Alrighty. A book over 500 pages. So that prompt was a book over 500 pages. So I think I'm going to throw Binding 13 on here and finally get to this. I believe, oh, listen to that flop. I believe they're available on KU, but if not, I'll read it here. These pages are so scarily thin. I'm so scared to get into this. Next up, we have a book in a series. I'm going to, for a book in a series, throw a reread on here. A Curse So Dark and Lonely. I read this a long time ago and I absolutely adored this book. But I think it's been so long and I could go for a refresher. Next up, a book with yellow on the cover. Let's do The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. I'm currently in the middle of a novel love story, which was on my April TBR. I think I only read 2 or 3 books off my April TBR, but I did read 17 books last month, so I guess it's gotta count for something, right? Oh goodness. Let's pick one more. A book that starts with a random letter. Letter picker wheel. Okay, let's do this one. Spin. Alrighty, let's choose a book that starts with the letter A. We're gonna throw in a manga. A Sign of Affection, Volume 1. But yeah. This is my May TBR. Thanks for watching.